Hello, everyone. I'm Peter Kincaid. I'm the CEO of Raintree Financial Solutions. Today, I'm joined by Brad Nathan, my old friend at Lynx Equity Income Trust. Brad, how are you doing today?
Great, Peter. Thanks for very much.
To start off with, Brad, can you just give us a high-level overview of what the Lynx Equity Income Trust is?
Sure. Lynx Equity Income Trust focuses on the U.S. division that we have for Lynx Equity. It's called Succession Capital, and it has been an excellent source of funding for us to be able to grow in the United States. We've done over a dozen acquisitions in the U.S., primarily in the Pacific Northwest, with a large focus on the flooring industry. And the Income Trust has enabled us to be able to do acquisitions on a regular basis, as we do have more acquisitions opportunities than we have anything else. And it's given us a lot of confidence to be able to source out deals knowing that there's capital coming in.
That's excellent. So leading up to this point, what are you most proud of with the fund?
You know, we started it with low expectations of being able to get it out of the gate. And certainly those were surpassed. And we also didn't expect to do so well in the United States. We did our first acquisition, and a lot of people were naysayers about how tough the US could be. But I think that's when there's a new company entering into the US to compete against someone else. In our case, we were buying businesses that were already competing and they were already established. And we were able to start from really ground zero and grow it really strong from the beginning with an excellent pace. Again, helping the funding was helped by Raintree and the group, and we surpassed what we ever could have imagined. And again, as I was saying earlier, we've done over a dozen acquisitions. We are probably the number 2 largest flooring company in the United States now as a group. And we have 3 acquisitions that are in our pipeline to continue that growth. We are definitely first in class, and we understand the space. And at the same time, we continue to diversify into other areas outside of flooring. And the U.S. has become our largest division of Lynx Equity.
That's great. And so obviously right now we're operating in a pandemic environment. What impact has that had on the fund, on these businesses? To this point?
I never thought in my wildest imagination I'd be saying the government has been fantastic, but the government has been fantastic in the U.S. and Canada and in Europe, where we have operating businesses as well. But the U.S. in particular has been excellent in terms of stimulating the growth through this period, or at least saving the decline. We had a record year across the board as a group and in each individual country that we're in. And the U.S. has been fantastic. I think the biggest reason that we've gotten through this, other than government aid, would be through a lot of contracts that we had. Our flooring business had long-term contracts that were in place, and we're able to, oddly, when we're installing some flooring, the staff has to be off for a few days. And in this case, that was really making it a lot easier. So it was really fortuitous for that aspect of it. But without a doubt, the contracts that we had in place for a long time were very helpful. I'm not as, I'm certainly concerned about what's going forward and what the world has to offer, as does everybody else. But we're still a strong business, and we still have contracts, and as I was saying, we're first in class. So sometimes it's a good thing when there's a crisis, because you can come out the other end a lot better.
Right. Now that sets the table for what you're excited for the rest of the year and heading into 2021. What can you tell us?
Well, I think, going back to the flooring industry, we're starting to identify potential synergies where we're able to bring companies that we acquire into the buying group that we're part of. We're able to utilize, excuse me for skipping something, but the biggest word that you hear all the time in business that's overused is synergy. We finally found them, and we're excited to be able to use our flooring group to create these synergies. We have a president of the group. We have a general manager / CFO of the group who's overseeing 5 businesses right now, when we're hoping that to become 8. So we're excited about the opportunity to continue the growth in the flooring space. That's one aspect of it.
Yeah, that's great. And maybe just because we've spent a lot of time on the flooring space, I mean, you've got other businesses in the portfolio.
Yes,
How are they doing? And can you give us a little bit of color on what those types of businesses are? Because
Sure.
there's a diversification effect that goes on in your portfolio.
And we have a housing siding business that's been great in Seattle. We have a nut and bolt distributor in San Diego that has been fantastic, and they have won some excellent contracts with the Navy. There's only one business that we've really felt a challenge with, and that's a jewelry business that sells into airports and gift shows. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but it's a small part of our business. So we're getting through it. There are a couple businesses that are outside, obviously, flooring that we're looking at, from alternative grass, like fake grass, turf business in Florida. And we're also looking at a business that sells into the trucking industry. So, you know, we are not fully reliant on the flooring business by any stretch of the imagination. It's just been a big part of our business for the last little while. I think at the end of the day, the beautiful part of the United States for us is that we see probably 1,500 acquisition opportunities a year, and those are not getting any smaller. And we've been able to negotiate our transactions during this time with a large portion of the purchase price being based on earnout. Whereas historically, that was more of a challenge. Now the sellers are much more aware of the limitations of their transaction pricing, and we're taking advantage of that situation.
Brad, this is a great update. Thanks for doing this with me. For those that are interested, come join us. We're going to be doing a webinar in a couple of weeks, and you'll be able to learn more about the Lynx Equity Income Trust investment opportunity. Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Peter. Bye.